Surprise, gang, that's a MAGA choir from the nation of Japan visiting Pennsylvania over the weekend to show their support for Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of these United States. And there are now reports that even the deep state, the bureaucrats in permanent Washington, are freaking out and starting to look for new jobs. We're going to see the latest panic in the swamp and what it all means for November. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. You know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Unfortunately, until Inauguration Day of January of next year, I'm saddened to say that I think we all recognize that we are indeed living in a new realm of tyranny. The three largest pharmaceutical companies in the nation are taking aim at taking a new supplement away from you. It's three letters, NMN. They want to turn NMN into the first prescription anti-aging drug, monopolize the market, and ramp up the prices. And the reason is simple. It's because NMN is a game changer. A recent Harvard study, which you can check out here, showed that NMN can help reduce weight, cholesterol, and even blood pressure in overweight adults. This thing has been dubbed the limitless pill. Some have called it a fountain of youth in a bottle. Just last week, Black Forest, alongside the Natural Product Association, sued the FDA for trying to take away such a powerful supplement from the hands of the American people. So arm yourself with knowledge, stock up on NMN, and let's show them that we don't and will not be silenced or subdued. We're in this together, and together we'll rise above it. I don't promote many people, but I genuinely respect these guys. They're fighters, standing up for what's right. I asked them if they could offer a special deal for our audience, and they agreed to an amazing buy two, get one free 48-hour deal. It's an amazing opportunity to stock up. I want to thank Antonio and the Black Forest team for fighting for our health freedoms. Head on, click on that link below, and let's show our support for companies that stand with our values and are willing to fight the powers that be. Click on that link below right now. All right, so with less than 3 weeks left until the big day, we could see from the Real Clear Politics polling aggregate, that's where RCP averages out all of the polling in the different vectors of the electorate. And as we could see here, courtesy of Eric Dougherty, Trump is polling significantly stronger in every single vector leading into Election Day. Nationally, he's up over 7 points from where he was in 2020. In Pennsylvania, he's up nearly 6 points. In Michigan, it's even more dramatic. He's up over 8 points since 2020. In Wisconsin, he's up over 6. In Arizona, he's up 5. And in Georgia, he's up by almost 3. Kamala's numbers continue to plunge. The latest Marquette poll is Trump taking the national lead after showing Harris with a +4 just a couple of weeks back. The latest Morris poll is showing Trump now with a double-digit lead among independents, 54-44. And while I'm not particularly a fan of Polymarket, the betting odds site, because it's more reactive than predictive, but it is noteworthy that Trump has just soared to his highest lead ever, 60-39, a dominant 20-point lead. Not surprisingly, he's leading in all the swing states, every single one, including Nevada, where no Republican has won in 20 years, since 2004. A conservative estimate, conservative projection, has the electoral map looking like this as of today, based on all the polling. If you're listening by way of our 20 million podcast downloads, Trump is winning on this graph with just over 300 electoral votes, almost matching what he got in 2016. And interestingly, now we're beginning to see the political obituaries come out. A number of outlets want to be noted by the pundit class as the first to notice the Kamala collapse. So Politico has a piece out today lamenting Kamala losing Pennsylvania, claiming that she doesn't have much of a ground game in the Keystone State. In other words, she's losing. Pennsylvania slipped beyond her grasp, which means it's over at a national level. You got The Hill publishing this headline, 4 reasons why Harris is losing. And just a few days before that, again from The Hill, Democrats start to hit the panic button. Harry Enton over at CNN is warning that things are looking very dire for Kamala. You got Mark Halperin predicting the single biggest mental health crisis in American history if Trump wins. You got James Carville over there, the Raging Cajun. He's having a visible meltdown on live TV. They all seem to be seeing the same thing. She is losing. And now we're getting reports from Politico that D.C. bureaucratic employees, the swamp creatures themselves, are currently panicking and preparing to hunt for new jobs as the election looms. Quote, federal employees throughout the executive branch are panicking at the thought of another Trump administration. Former President Donald Trump has pledged to, quote, demolish the deep state. His running mate, Ohio Republican Senator J.D. Vance, has said Trump ought to fire every civil servant in the administrative state. It's not just campaign trail bluster. In the waning days of his first administration, Trump sought to make it easier to fire federal employees, a move that was quickly reversed by the Biden, and I'll put in Harris, administration. Now, what they're talking about there is an executive order that Trump signed. I believe it was his last executive order that he signed in his first term. It's called Schedule F. And what Schedule F does to the deep state is basically, this is something I like to say often on this channel, it's basically like what Order 66 was to the Jedis, right, for you Star Wars fans. So Order 66 was a top secret order identifying all Jedi as traitors to the Galactic Republic, and therefore they had to be eliminated. Well, metaphorically, Schedule F functions very much the same way. It reassigns federal bureaucrats in D.C. as Schedule F employees, which in effect strips away all of their employment protection, thereby enabling the president to fire tens of thousands of deep state bureaucrats. Some are estimating that Trump could fire upwards of 60,000 government workers literally on day one of his second term, which would be astonishing for sure. But according to Politico, it's absolutely freaking out permanent Washington. And when all is said and done, it's because they're seeing the polls. They're seeing the polls and they're seeing the results in their own backyard. Have you seen the voting results, the early voting results coming out of Virginia, particularly Northern Virginia? Republican turnout is through the roof. It's significantly higher now than it was back in 2021. At this time in 2021, when Glenn Youngkin went on to win the governor's race. Virginia's been voting for weeks now, and everyone's been waiting for, especially Democrats, oh, just wait, the Democrat vote will come out. It'll come out in spades. It'll squash the Republican vote. Everybody's been waiting for the Democrats to rise up and blow the Republicans out of the water, and it simply hasn't happened. In fact, Virginia just keeps getting more and more red. And Trump doesn't have to win Virginia. That's not the point. If Cackle's Kamala is struggling in Virginia, which she is, if the early vote in Virginia is inordinately Republican, that foreshadows a comparably inordinate Republican turnout in states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, that all have far more Republicans than Virginia. And by the way, it's exactly what we're seeing in Arizona and Georgia right now. The Republicans are coming out in spades. So whether they're looking at the polls or the early voting, it all says the same thing. Trump is crushing it. All his cackles is collapsing. More and more deep state bureaucrats are reading the writing on the walls. It's up to us to make sure Trump fulfills that message.